It's hard for me to tell. All right.
Indeed we are. Greetings,
Hi,
everyone.
everybody. Surprise, surprise. It's kind of a pop-up, but I did let people know. We're going to go over the astrology today. Next week for me is moving week, so I'm doing my best to allow time for that. Today is the 22nd. We are at the very beginning stages of this full moon in Scorpio. So we decided to jump on with Kathy Bale, our resident I almost said psychic astrologer, and we just want to look at what's being highlighted today. I definitely feel like spring is coming. I can feel the pollen in the air. I don't know. Are you sensitive to pollen? I'm just like my ears are kind of hurting a little and like that.
No, it'll come. No, I haven't.
Allergies. But anyway, I'm good. Everything's good. How was your weekend?
Unexpectedly exciting, but
Oh, good.
no.
It wasn't good.
I have my little Jupiter Uranus unexpected, like, well, I didn't see that coming. Boom. But I did have a lovely day in the city with a girlfriend who's going to be moving to New Hampshire, and
Oh, really?
we
Where in New Hampshire?
um, just south of Brattleboro, Vermont. So way northern tip. She's not on the seacoast. Not like everybody else I know. Everyone else I know is on the seacoast. She's going to be way up.
Pretty up there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if others are feeling it, but to me, this is a feeling I get during these times astrologically is like, hurry up and catch that thing. That's it's just I feel like, and it's not even anything in particular. It's just like I just feel like I have to hurry up and get there before the time runs out, kind of a feeling. And it's not that there's a big logical rush, it's just a feeling. Like hurry up and get there because the time is going to run out, and then the time runs out, and it just seems like time is accelerating. And I've been hearing a lot about this Uranus, what is it, Uranus and Jupiter something. So can you maybe give us some insight on what's going on with that? Maybe that's related.
Well, all right. These planets meet every 13 or 14 years, but not in the same sign. The last time they met in the sign of Taurus was May of 1941. So I think I talked a little bit about things that happened then. Important things to know. Jupiter expands everything for good or bad. It just makes more of whatever it touches. And Uranus is awakening, it's radical change, it's quick change, it's the unexpected, it's shocking, and it has a lot to do with technology and electricity. And these are in the sign of Taurus, which is very grounded, earthy experience, sensory experience, food, the arts, but the actual the physicality of the arts, not the, oh, I'm going to sit here and dream things up. No. Taurus likes to consume things, touch them. It wants to have it real.
Grounded, right?
And so this also deals with money, with resources, with relationships. But again, it's not some romantic ideal of relationship, but the person you want right next to you. So Jupiter and Uranus together are they are blowing up wherever they are in your chart. They're blowing something up, which could be your perspective, how stuck you are in something. And in the next 6 weeks, we have a whole bunch of aspects touching on both of these planets, so that if you're sitting here going, well, I don't know what happened in my life, you will very soon have opportunities to integrate what this means for you personally. And the first landing point for it is the Taurus new moon, which I think is on the 7th of May, and it happens really close to the degree of this conjunction. Now, Jupiter will have moved away by then, but Uranus is still going to be in the arena. So the new moon, planting seeds, look at it this way. Somebody has kicked the game board over and the pieces have gone wee, and some of them aren't there anymore. So you get to pick up what's there and make a new game and put them together and do something new with it.
Yeah, I'm totally in that 100%.
By the end of
overall.
May, all these different things are going to meet these, but by the end of May, Mercury will meet up with Uranus. Mercury is how we think about things, our mindset, our perspective, but it's also messages and communications and messaging. So whatever goes on, there'll be this gigantic aha moment at the end of May, like, got it. Now I see. There we go.
Yeah, so things will feel a little bit more settled, because you're talking about all this Taurus energy, and I would think Taurus would feel more like grounded, right? But isn't there
Except
something
that it's got this electric explosive.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that explains. Yeah, because when we're saying Taurus, grounded, it's like, wait, it doesn't really feel like that. But the Uranus is making it feel a little bit like time doesn't seem like it's the same. Isn't that like Saturn?
Mm-hmm.
So Uranus can make things feel like shaken up, but in the sign of Taurus, it's shaken up, but I don't know. It just seems like
shaking up the physicality of our lives in some way. And it's also women. It's also women's roles. And without going into without detailing everybody into technical death here, just know there is a lot in the sky that involves the archetype of women getting activated, moving into warrior mode, and this is shaking up women's roles. And it doesn't take much to look at all kinds of things recently from the perspective of women waking up.
Yeah, for
what's
sure.
going to happen?
And the Uranus would be like breaking up the old grounded kind of ideas, right? What's like kind of pulling the weeds out, or it just has that kind of energy, like breaking it up, like Shiva, and to come together in a new way, like you were saying. So that's kind of on track. What's going on with Saturn?
Saturn is in the sign of Pisces. Saturn's traveling through. So Saturn's in the sign of the uncontainable. Saturn, influence of containment, is in the sign that represents the interconnectedness of all life. The waters, the ocean of humanity, the us and up in the divine, the last time Saturn floated through this territory was 94 to 96 or so. So there's a recurrence going on with that. And Saturn hasn't been much in conversation so far this year. Saturn will re-enter the conversation in a big way, end of August, and then again in December, because by then it's going to be in a challenging relationship with Jupiter, which expands everything. Jupiter is going to change signs near the end of May, and it's going to go into Gemini. Now, oddly, Jupiter whipping things up that have to do with communication, multitasking, ooh, shiny object. I call it short attention span theater. But running in all kinds of different ways, and also making light of things and yakking a whole lot. Oddly, life is going to feel a lot less chaotic. Even with that, this summer, things are going to feel like, oh my God, I can take a breather. I can go to sleep. It doesn't matter. But Saturn will enter the picture in late August and in late December. It's going to have a tough relationship with Jupiter going all over the place. And there will be this tamping down, like, whoop, nope, we got to contain all this running around. And I'll just put a pin in it. There are 20 zillion people that we have been talking about over the years who have either a Gemini sun or something major in Gemini in their charts. And they are all having Saturn closing in on them. Of course, is the Gemini in chief, who's currently got 4 different legal matters active this week alone. But we can just go through the list of the people: Giuliani, you name it, Bill Barr, Boris Johnson from the UK. They're like bam, bam. Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Just keep going down the list of all these people. Right. And Saturn is the planet of adulting. Saturn says, put on your big kid pants or you're going to pay. And there's a strong element of the cosmic 2x4 just waiting to go bam down on these people. Because if you've been messing around, Saturn will come and get you. So we'll be seeing a lot of that.
Well, Saturn in Pisces is, for how long is it in Pisces? Did you already tell me?
It's moving out next year in 2025.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. So Saturn rules time, and it being in Pisces would make it
spacey.
Have you noticed the time seems like it's slipping through your fingers, kind of like you think it's a certain time and it's actually not? And is that part of Saturn being in Pisces?
It could be that, with also Neptune being in Pisces. I mean, everything's kind of like diffused. It's like we're experiencing reality through massive layers of gauze. I cannot tell you how frequently I remember an appointment incorrectly, or I write the wrong time, or I get it in my head that it's the wrong day. And this is not how I'm normally wired. And there are many reasons for this. Part of it is persistent traumatic stress disorder, but all of this stuff in Pisces is part of it too. Like, we're all just kind of spacey, like, what day is it?
I always notice it driving. I always that's my gauge for how people are feeling. It's just, I'm being psychic, right? It's like, what are you thinking? Like, sometimes someone will get behind me and I'm just like, stop it, stop. And they're not even doing anything. I'm just like, stop thinking that.
I know. Put it with the negative waves.
But I advise, I recommend to people to be extra vigilant when you're driving, because people are not paying attention. That's what it feels like to me, is like that Neptune. And so Neptune's in Pisces and Saturn is in Pisces.
Yeah, but they're not going to meet in Pisces, even though they're in the same sign. They're not going to meet until they're both in Aries.
And when is that?
They're both going to move into Aries next year, but they're not going to meet in Aries until early 2026, I think.
Oh, okay. When life will be totally different.
It will be extremely different.
I think you think about, like, wow, we're going through such huge changes all over. Of course, we are curious about certain characters. The what you call him, the Gemini in chief?
I just came up with that.
Chief. He's not in chief. Let's be clear about that. Did you say that you found the Attorney General's?
I have charts for Alvin Bragg and for Letitia James, but I can't find a birthday even for Judge Mershon. So I think his, it's quiet, it's secret. Who knows what his birthday is, much less birth date. So I don't even know. I have no idea what he is. So he's not the factor here.
Okay.
But couple of things that might be very helpful for people to know. This week we've got 2 dominant influences. One of them is Jupiter and Uranus, which met exactly on Saturday, but we're still feeling it. We're feeling it for a long time. This was very close to Trump's midheaven, which is the doorway to your house of public reputation. And it's also the angle of the chart that represents your home in the world, your home. And when Uranus moves across this, and it's going to just be going back and forth over it from the summer on for a long time. We're in the beginning stages of it now with this. This is the kickoff. And his public role will never be the same after this. So that's thing one. This week is also an intense full moon. Full moons are times of culmination. They bring
Yeah.
things to a head and they offer moments of release. And this one is in the sign of the stuff we don't normally talk about in public, often that we're not even conscious of, whatever's going on in our, almost like on a cellular level. And it has the intensity of a lunar eclipse without being a lunar eclipse. So this one is a good cleanup batter for the eclipses because it's a time to just let stuff come to the surface and go a little crazy and then purge it. And so it's
Yeah.
ruled by Pluto, lord of all the scary stuff inside of us.
Right.
And
Right.
and Pluto is monkey in the middle between the sun and the moon. So the sun and when there's a full moon, the sun and the moon are opposite each other. So ration and logic and emotion are kind of like at loggerheads. And the midpoint, both of them are pressing down on this primal, scary shit influence. Sorry
And
for my French.
no,
And
it's fine. I swear on YouTube.
so I don't normally, but anyway, so Pluto is where the pressure is. And so a lot of really this like life at any cost, survival instincts coming out. And it is incredibly appropriate. It also deals with sex and with crime. So and with money and money crimes. So we've got this money crime involving sex trial that's come up. We've also got a hearing on a bond for fraud, and the bond is doesn't meet the statutory requirements. And given what's happening in Letitia James's chart, I think she stands an excellent chance of getting that bond revoked. We also have a hearing on the gag order about how much, and I think he's going to be fined first. I think it's $1,000 per incident. And then after that, who knows what'll happen. So I would expect money fines to start coming in the criminal trial. And the Supreme Court is hearing this ridiculous immunity appeal. And I know that was
that's this week, right?
yeah, all of this is this week under this influence. So you would expect some major stuff to be happening in the prime litigant's chart. And in fact, the South Node currently, which is what we're moving away from, is on top of his wound in the money house, his wound of relationships and self-worth and the deals that he makes. So there's something now, and this comes up every 18 and a half years. He's lived through this before, but not with the other things going on that are going on right now. So I want to pin into this immediately close to when I brought it up. Alvin Bragg's Pluto, the planet that rules the full moon, the planet that's monkey in the middle in this full moon. Alvin Bragg's Pluto is on Trump's second house Neptune. To translate, he has the planet of illusion and grifting and fraud in the sign that has to do with deals in his money house. And Alvin Bragg's Pluto, which is like the higher force, is exactly on that spot in Trump's chart.
Is it the second house is the money house?
Yeah.
Oh.
So Trump's real talent, his real resource is making these completely, illusory deals. Well, also it could be all kinds of things, money laundering, but doing stuff involving money and with arrangements with other people. And each of these involves a deal with somebody else, if you think about it. And Alvin Bragg's Pluto, which is the ultimate power, is on top of that. So
he's going to win. Right?
I do believe he is uniquely positioned. Now, compare and contrast, I just want to throw in that Letitia James.
Now, this one that as we speak, they're in the courtroom. This one is, what do you think it's going to go for 4 weeks or 6 weeks, or do you have?
there are multiple moments when a conviction sorry, could come through. I say May 31st at the latest.
So
Could be
uh,
earlier, but May 31st at the latest.
does that kind of check out astrologically?
Yes, and my reason for that is that Mercury, which rules the house of the courts in both Bragg's solar chart and Letitia James's solar chart. We don't have a birth time for them, so I use what's called a solar chart. Mercury, which rules the house of legal proceedings, is conjunct Uranus on the 31st of May. And that's that moment that I said where, it, like things just changed. There's shocking news, there's eruption. So each of them gets something that is the culmination of this week.
Yeah. So it seems like
at that point,
the end of next month, we should have some kind of decisions.
Right.
So in this case, he will have to. What will the punishment be?
In the election interference, it's 4 years max for every count, and I think there are more than 30 counts, and I would expect most of them to get guilty.
I didn't realize it was that. We haven't been hearing that, have we?
4 years per count. Now, the judge could stack them together, which for a 77-year-old man could do it.
Yeah, but we haven't been hearing he could really very well go to jail. Have you been hearing that?
Yeah.
I haven't been hearing that. You have?
Mm-hmm. Because yes, he really could for this. Yes, this is a felony. And the individual pieces of it didn't start out as a felony. It is not a crime to pay somebody off. The hush money aspect isn't a crime. Right. And the falsifying business records is a misdemeanor or something, but it's the fact that it was done and the timing of it and the intent of it to keep it out of the election cycle. That's a felony.
Public. And that's a federal crime.
Well, this is on the state level. State, yeah. Now there's a federal component too, but that's the one that Bill Bragg killed. Bragg killed the investigation that had been going on in the Southern District of New York.
You mean Barr?
I'm sorry, Barr. So sorry. Yes, Bill Barr.
That's okay. I was a little confused.
Yeah, well, Neptune. We'll just say, hey, Neptune.
Yeah, I know. That's how it feels today.
Hey, Neptune, get out of my head. Get out of my head, Neptune.
So I did not realize that. So is it the election interference that's the crime?
That's the crime.
That could land him in jail?
Yes.
And when you look at Trump's chart, do you see that likelihood for this, that likely outcome for this case?
Well, with things starting right now, there is, I'll just say yes. That'll be easiest. Yes, without explaining why, but there is something going on that would that's hitting his Mars, which is how he pushes himself forward.
Yeah.
In his 12th house, which is a house of institutions and detainment and imprisonment. So and before people go, woo, I want to see him in a
we're done with that phase.
No. Let's just say right now his life is not his. It's not his. His life is not his. He is now effectively contained by being forced to sit in a room and put his phone down and have someone tell him what to do 4 days a week. And I would expect this conviction to be followed by something that really pulls back his ability to run around in the world, which is not necessarily, and probably not, going into a prison. I've always thought it's much more likely it could be house arrest. It could be, and it's institutionalized regardless. So My
Right.
my money is on his health landing him somewhere where he's not walking around free for the rest of
Check
his life.
check this out. Can you see this?
Oh, geez.
I
Does
saw
it
this online today, and it really is. I mean, it's funny and everything, but that's really what we're dealing with. A tiny baby toddler pulling a tantrum Trump. And
somebody, it might have been Joyce Vance, somebody made the comparison, said, define this as the longest standoff with trying to get a 3-year-old to go to bed.
yeah, he's a child. That the Americans think he's presidential. Some Americans think he should be in the White House is just like definitely it's a cult. Definitely. So, why do you think he's fallen asleep?
Well, does he sleep at night? Probably not. There are news reports coming out that this is why he didn't show up in the White House until late in the morning, earlier in the afternoon, because
Oh, that's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
and who knows? I mean, there could be many reasons.
Yeah, yeah. He actually was never really working when he was in that position. Didn't he go golfing like most of the days of the year?
I think so.
Almost every day. Yeah, it's really it's
Well, on the
unbelievable.
weekends for certain. Um, Also, I mean, what do you think? If you're stuck in something and you don't have the emotional maturity to deal with it, wouldn't you just kind of power down? Like,
I think that his brain he doesn't have the bandwidth to absorb what's happening, and I think it's kind of a mini trauma that he just shuts down. I think he can't handle what's going on. He cannot conceive of I'm not the one that's barking out demands, and I think his psyche's just shutting down. I mean, of course he's exhausted, but I think that there's drugs for that. Right.
well, who knows? I'll just throw in, since this is something you've asked about before, when I've mentioned Jupiter meeting Uranus, Uranus is the ruler of his health. Uh, and
Uh,
and and so something really big having to do with his health, and Uranus, this isn't, cuddly, cozy, I'm going to go take a nap kind of energy. This
no.
is mind on overdrive. This is anxiety running all through. And maybe he has been an anxious person all his life. I don't know. Um, I'll just throw in also, because I've neglected to mention this before. There are so many ways all of this fits in. That Jupiter Uranus conjunction up there, right on the doorway to his career in his house of legal proceedings, is in an adjustment aspect with his moon, his emotional driver, and his south node, which is his normal way of being. So normally he just starts pontificating, and
Right.
he's having to adjust how he handles things. He cannot just start blurting whenever he feels like it. So that's a big shift, and that shift's not going away. This is now part of his new uh reality, I guess is a way to put it.
Yeah, I'm not a psychologist, but I know a lot about psychology. I do think that it's just too much for him to handle.
I would agree. I'm looking through
It's a
our
brand new world for him. We're at the halfway point, which is when we're going to do commercials.
commercial.
This is where we let you all know that we are dependent on your business to keep going.
Here I be.
And for Kathy, I've determined that it would be worth her while if she books 2 astrology readings, and every 2 weeks. So you probably didn't get one because I
got one. I have one. So
one.
we're
Okay,
one
so
ahead for the next
yeah,
one.
yeah, we're doing this a week ahead too. So you
And this
need
is
to have 3.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, this is my site, empowermentunlimited.net, and you can see my schedule. Also have a forecast for every month, every moon, new or full, and then every week. And they're cross-posted on the on my professional Aquarian YouTube channel. But from this page, you can also get to all of my services, which you will now see. Astrology consultations with my departed cat, Sasha, looking at my laptop. She had a way of walking on the screen and then something would show up that was what I needed to see. It was
Maybe she was
freaky.
an astrologer.
Must have been. Tarot. I have a number of different types of astrology reports. Then some people will hire me for helping them work out their energy. But then again, we have my YouTube channel coming up next, which is Professional Aquarian, and everything is cross-posted there. And that there you can also find recordings of the the show I do on Om Times Radio and TV on the first and third Monday of every month. It's called Celestial Compass. And then after it airs, I put it up on here. So
Are those short videos or?
no, they're an hour. Those
are
are an hour. I do have a short one up about Jupiter and Uranus right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about that.
Yeah. And I have a Patreon. That's my backyard, by the way. Truly is. I have a Patreon where there are many different levels of support, and I go into greater detail about. It's fairly predictive. Like here's how things are going to play out and stuff you can do with it for people. And then I also once a month have an Ask Me Almost Anything where people throw astrology questions at me. And lately we've been doing lots of chart interpretation lately involving the royal family. So there you go.
So just like live and they ask questions.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And I'm done. Now it's time.
Oh, now it's my time. This is my commercial. I have a new class coming up, Releasing Religious Guilt. I've written a book. It's not published yet, but you get the book upon signing up. It's a very intense course. I need 6 people, my quota, to actually have the class. And if I don't get that by May 18th, then it switches to personal sessions. So don't miss this opportunity to release guilt from your life. It's an ongoing process, and we'll kick it off. PsychicAnnetteDion.com is where you sign up for that. I have a Substack, Grassroots of Democracy group. 3 articles. I write 3 articles a week on things that are going on with our democracy. And yeah, there they are. Please go to Substack and subscribe. It's free. I need for everybody to do the free things because we're doing a lot here and we just need you to subscribe. Okay, and grassrootsofdemocracy.com. We have a 20 on Tuesdays guided meditation for a healed America. We do that every single Tuesday. It is working. You receive a recording of the guided meditation the next day at that meeting, which is tomorrow night, which is Tuesdays, every single week. We also follow that up with a 20-minute discussion about the spiritual readings from Sunday's Church of Spirituality. Next, we have PNN. That will be tonight, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's a little party. We're a little clique, and we talk about democracy and everything that's going on in the news, and I read cards about current things that are happening. So that's right here on my channel. And when you join my YouTube channel, you will receive an affirmation in your inbox every single day to start your day on the right foot. It really is life-changing. And this coming Saturday night, the High Priestess and the World Level members are invited to a psychic party. We all get together for a brouhaha for an hour, and we do whatever. Usually we end up doing readings and chatting, and that's a party too. It's all a party. We're just having a fun time. And Grassroots Democracy, Thursday night discussion group. Saturdays we have a work session. Sign up at grassrootsofdemocracy.com. We have, we're kind of on a roll. We're building up momentum. We are saving our democracy. Everyone's going to feel better when you're involved and activated with others. It's so important to do this together. All right, and Church of Spirituality is every single Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. We have a new channel at Church of Spirituality, and the old services are on my Psychic Annette Dion channel. I think that's everything. Thank you for being here, everybody. Please hit the thumbs up and please subscribe. We're wanting to get the numbers up. All right, and that was our little commercial break. Thank you for listening. Please check us out And so we want to talk about what's happening this week. We know he's in court. Do we have any information about Marjorie Trader Green and the whole thing that's going on there? I know we've talked about her before. I've been feeling like something's really pending with her. Like she's gonna be kind of on the rocks a little bit for something, and I'm not sure what it is. And don't forget to tune into PNN tonight because we can look into it a little bit more.
Well, this the Jupiter Uranus conjunction hit her, is in an adjustment aspect to her north node. So something about what her life, it's like, you think you're going this way? No.
Yeah.
Course correction.
She seems a little shell-shocked energetically to me. It's like she thought that people would be siding with her, kind of. That's what it feels like. She's very surprised that people have bucked her and her Freedom Caucus. That they're not going along with ousting MAGA Mike. Do you see that?
Oh, well, I just see a jolt in how she thinks about things, discomfort in information that she can't shake. Okay, she cannot rationalize what has just happened, and a lot of things about her fighter spirit are getting hit here.
Yep.
Oh, wait.
She's getting her balloon is bursting.
Wait.
She sees it. It's there. It's always there.
There is something called a finger of God.
Yeah.
That the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is at the end of. So there is something here. It involves her life path, her destiny, and it also involves her being she's a change agent, okay? Disruptive, okay. But she's a change agent. It's part of what this is the way she does stuff. And those two things together are pushing towards a big change in how she thinks about things. And it's conceivable her own ability to walk freely could be,
keep saying it,
at stake, but maybe not necessarily quickly. All right. But it's there. It's like, okay, the ground has been prepared.
Yeah, it's definitely there. And I think that she thought that being on Putin's side was going to be popular. And she's finding out that they're not as stupid as she might think. We're not for Putin. We're for democracy. We're for America.
Well, there could be a bit of zealotry on her part. I mean, it's entirely possible she believes some of this stuff.
I don't know.
It could be conditioning, it could be posturing, but she could have bought into it.
Well, I think after a while, and I think this is true for Trump too, that I think after a while you start to believe it because you're parroting the same points over and over, and you start to get used to hearing it come out of your mouth, and then you see that some people believe you, and then I think it does create kind of a sense of an alternative reality for them. I mean, they know that it's not true and that they're lying, but when you say something enough, which is a total fascist tactic, you can start to believe it yourself, which is also very cult mind. So I do think that she's done. MAGA Mike surprised me, kind of. We did see changes coming for him. I actually don't think he's going to stay in the speaker seat.
I've always thought that the House is going to flip before the next election.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I feel like Hakeem Jeffries, we've looked at his chart before, and I see him stepping into that role. And I think I've even heard some Republicans alluding to that.
I haven't heard, but it's been a while since I've looked at his chart. But I do know that when Saturn starts getting really active at the end of August, it's activating all kinds of stuff in his chart. So I will not be surprised if he, due to attrition, due to shifts, becomes the speaker by the end of the summer.
Yeah, they don't know how to do the job. These Putin Republicans, they're I heard somebody saying recently that it's like they don't really want to be in the majority because that means they have to work. They'd rather be behind, not behind the scenes, but they'd rather be in a lesser role so they can just cause all this ruckus and just be like on the news and on Fox and, and all this stuff. But they don't really like being in a position of like accountability. If you're in the majority, that means you have to get the work done. And the latest one I saw, they were proposing that they had a whole list of bills they were getting ready to pass, like save our gas stoves and save our kitchen appliances. Did you see that? There's a whole list of that was their plan. They were going to pass these bills about kitchen appliances. And it was just like making a mockery out of their position that they're in. And if they think people aren't getting angry, they're wrong. As far as Marge goes, I feel like that her accountability for what she did around January 6th is going to come to the surface. And I also feel a resurgence of the Mueller report, which I mentioned before.
I'm going to say that the lunar eclipse at the end of September, which will be in the sign of Pisces, which will have Neptune conjunct the eclipse, is when that is going to wash ashore again.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying it'll be exactly at the end of September. It could start in the summer, but I because of the aspects that were in place when Barr got ahead of the report and mischaracterized it, it would be fitting for a Pisces lunar eclipse to suddenly reveal, like, oh, look, here's a whole ocean of lies.
A Pisces lunar eclipse. Wow. We haven't looked at Bill Barr for a while, but have you seen what he said lately?
Yeah, he's going to vote for Trump.
What is it? Have we looked at his chart?
It's been a long time.
Maybe
I have looked at it, but maybe not with you. And it's been he's one of the Geminis. He's one of the Geminis. We've got a long list of them.
They flip and they flop and they flip and they flop, and it's like, what? How about Sununu? I mean, what is this?
Before people come after me with pitchforks, there are good Geminis. Jack Smith is a Gemini. I have many friends who are Geminis.
But you're an Aquarius. So you don't need to take offense, but and we all have our negatives, right?
No. But I mean, before the Geminis among me start going, stop saying bad things about Geminis. These are.
You can say bad things about any sign.
These are the poster child. These are the poster children for flexibility to the point of deception. Geminis, yeah.
Well, Gemini's the twins, right?
Yeah. It's very malleable. It can be this, it can be that. Ooh.
Right. What sign is Bill Barr? Do you know?
He's a Gemini.
He is a Gemini. Okay. Yeah, that's what we're seeing. I wonder what Chris Sununu is.
I do not know.
But he flip-flopped too. They are flip-flopping. They're flip-flopping on like abortion, the women's rights issues, and like even Trump is flip-flopping all over the place. And eventually you're looking at them going, what is it that you're trying to, like, I don't feel like they have a constitution within themselves, like a personal constitution, except to deceive. But what do they really believe?
They stand for, I should be in power. It really just boils down to that, like power, mine.
Yeah, whatever it's going to take. And hopefully the American people, enough of us will get it. Enough of us will be talking about it and getting other people to pay attention to what they're doing. It's like, well, when somebody's that weak in their own personal constitution, it's very ineffective. You know what I mean? Like you start to really lose energy if you keep, but what did I say? And it's kind of like they can't even keep up with their own lies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Gemini energy. And I don't have anything against Geminis. And I can say lots of nasty things about Sagittarius, my own sign, right? So it's not really about it's bad to be that sign. It's just that this is the negative side of it. Is to just, okay, who are you today? Are you freak or are you frack? Or are you Jekyll or are you Hyde? Like that kind of thing. With this full moon in Scorpio, just on a personal level, we mentioned that this is a really good time to let go of things for good, which we say frequently. Oh, Governor Sununu is a Scorpio. Oh, well, that's interesting. Thank you, Barbara. I haven't been really reading the chat.
It's a power move. Okay, couple things. When the chart for the full moon in New York City has the moon on the ascendant, which means the moon's the people. So the whole thing is in all of these different arenas where this trial is governed by women, criminality, and people being highly attuned to this.
Are you
Highly attuned to
Are you
it.
looking at New York's chart?
No, I'm looking at the Scorpio full moon chart set for New York City. So when it is full, looking at it in New York City. So for people, it's useful to look at this moon as a dumping ground for stuff, that you haven't taken the time to acknowledge, that
Yeah.
you've reacted to. Because, you just plow on like, in this marathon, you're doing things, and then suddenly you have this
Right.
moment of, oh my God, like having stage fright after the fact, coming off stage and realizing.
Yeah,
Yes.
that can happen when we go so fast. Yeah, I had an idea today that I would probably go over the past 5 years.
Oh, that's good.
All the dramatic news stories that have happened. That sounds like what you're talking about. Like to go over like the past 5 years, 5 to 8 years, the top news stories, of certain months and like what happened those years, so we can kind of process through it, and you know what I mean, to look at what's gone on and to put it to bed, or just process it. Is that the kind of thing that a full moon in Scorpio would be good for, both personally and collectively?
Oh, yeah. But it's also good for like getting it out of your system. Just acknowledge.
Yeah.
Look at it as like toxic cleanup.
But we have things in our systems that we don't even remember unless somebody jogs our memory,
It's also really good for getting rid of physical objects. All right. Take the symbolic action of throwing things out, getting rid of them, getting rid of what you don't need. If it's broken, if you're not using it, get rid of it.
I'm lined right up with this. It's so funny. Right outside my office door, they're doing some renovation next door, and so there's a big dumpster. It's just perfect. So yeah, that like really, really physically and emotionally and spiritually. So it can be a really good thing. This full moon can be a really, really excellent thing. We have to get rid of stuff to make room for the new.
And another thing to think about, I've mentioned that Pluto is in the middle of all this. Pluto rules the moon, and Pluto's in the middle of all it. It's in the sign of Aquarius. So Pluto's at the very beginning of this new form of how we're going to interrelate until 2044. So like new communities, new collectives.
Wow,
So
right.
you could look at this as dumping the stuff that doesn't fit where your life is going. Like you're adapting to a new environment, a new community, a new way of being.
Yeah. It's a good time to look at where do I want to be in, say, 5 years, right?
Mhm.
To really think about that, to really think in 5 years, where are we going to be in 2029? Where are we going to be?
Well, there's a big,
right. And what about Joe Biden, because he's a Scorpio? Did you happen to notice? I didn't ask you to look.
Well, this is it's opposite his moon, and it is, I'm trying to find his chart. I think it's on his
sorry, I just
kind of planet in his chart. I know that
and then
it
was too much. All
the
right,
Jupiter Uranus conjunction is opposite his Mercury. So there's stuff happening that's causing him to look at reality in a way that he hasn't before. And my money would be on his lifetime approach to bipartisanship, just letting go. because
Yeah,
it's
he
pointless.
has to. Yeah. I think that's getting obvious, and I think I think that he's given it a good shot. Did you say he had Sagittarius somewhere?
Oh, he has Sag rising, and
Yeah. Yeah, the Sages are like, oh, everybody, let's get along. Let's all that's that. But the Scorpio is like, okay, you've shown me who you are.
well,
Off
I
your head.
always say I would not bet against a Scorpio in a cage match. So
Right. I can relate to Joe Biden. I have similar aspects.
I'm looking for his chart. So I'm doing all this from memory because I'm not putting my hand
Yeah.
on it. But know that there's stuff, there's all kinds of stuff going on in his family and internally with his reaction to things that have been going on. And I would say that Israel and Palestine are a big factor in it because they both have a 21-degree Taurus sun. They both have their sun exactly where the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction took place. And this happened hitting Scorpio placements of Biden. So it's had to have had a massive impact on him personally.
Somebody's saying there's a breaking news. There's a 6.1 magnitude earthquake in Taiwan.
Uh-oh, not again. There was an earthquake in Taiwan a couple of weeks ago.
I know, that Uranus and Taurus, right?
Yep.
So it feels like, do you think that what you're saying about Biden, that might have something to do with him coming to terms with Bibi and like whose side he's really on? Netanyahu?
That could have something to do with that. Yes, very much so.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a reality.
Well, yeah. And it's also like something hitting you and you just cannot. Well, an example I use is you're outside, it's pitch dark, and then suddenly lightning goes and you see what's on the road. You go, oh.
Yeah, we talked about that last time, and you said that was the Uranus. What was that? Because you mentioned that last time with the lightning.
Yeah, so that's this conjunction that happened over the weekend.
Okay.
So he's had a massive epiphany about something.
Yeah, good. That sometimes we need those, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It feels like a time for that. It really does.
Oh no, it absolutely is.
Boom! Let's snap out of it. Let's get back into reality, kind of feeling, which is very Scorpionic. Let's cut away what doesn't work and let's move forward with what does work. I heard I have a friend in Nashville who's an astrologer, and I got a message from her about Scorpio, which is so interesting because I know a few Scorpios that are like this, and might be something for us to look out for in ourselves. Is like a Scorpio, if they can't get their sting in, they'll start stinging themselves. You ever heard that?
Oh, I have seen people with Mars and Scorpio in the first house of identity.
Oh my gosh.
Sting themselves. Yes, like they'll hit somebody, they'll go for someone, and it'll just whip around, and it's like the scorpion tail hitting them.
They have to always be stinging. See, now that's a negative side of a sign, but Scorpios are really wonderful psychics, and they're really great investigators, and Scorpios got some great qualities too. So whatever you are, it's beautiful. All of you. So Memphis is quaking and shaking. There's some kind of Uranus and Taurus stuff going on. So I know you have to go. You have a hard stop. And anything else that you want to offer to us?
Let it go.
Have a happy full moon.
Let it go. I mean, honestly, do something to acknowledge to yourself that you're putting a burden down. Even if, just think about it when you're taking your trash out. You know, you can take a symbolic action. I said last time, write things down, burn them, and put the ashes in the toilet and watch them. Or imagine when you're showering, like, I'm done with blah, blah, and just imagine it going down the drain. There's all kinds of ways of looking at it. But I've got I have a forecast for the full moon that's on my site and also on my YouTube channel, and then it talks about it in practical detail. Like, this is how it might work in your life.
I'm gonna go look at it at Professional Aquarian, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, everyone go to Professional Aquarian and hear about this full moon. How long is that video?
7 minutes, maybe
Just
6 minutes.
2 minutes, or you?
My moon videos are short. Other ones, and the weeklies are like 10, 11 minutes. Depends.
Yeah, that's great. That's the end thing. Apparently, people want shorter videos. I'm working on it. I'm having a hard time. There's so much to talk about.
Oh, I know.
Well, thank you. Book a session with Kathy. She needs 3 in order for us to go forward with our next show. The full moon is going to hit tomorrow night, according to my calendar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on the East Coast, it's at 7:49 p.m.
Yeah, and so we did this show early because I am moving next week. I'll be busy with that. The 6th, right before the new moon. Does that work for you? The 6th?
We'll
Tuesday?
talk. On Tuesday, isn't it Tuesday the 7th?
No, the 7th. Sorry.
I'll be back by the 7th. Any of you guys that are near Rehoboth Beach, I will be in Delaware on Saturday, May 4th, 2 to 4. Browse about books in the Biden's backyard. Come say hi.
Yeah, we're visualizing the First Lady
Yeah.
showing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you come to PNN tonight, somebody was visualizing something for me, and you're going to crack up because it happened. Tune in.
I want to hear.
Yeah, you will. Are you going around tonight for?
I can come tonight. I can't come to Grassroots on Tuesday. I've got a project in Manhattan that it's taking all my time. So
okay, well you'll get a guided meditation recording.
I know.
Like,
they're worth it, people. They're worth it.
Yeah, they're awesome. Thank you for joining us for this kind of spontaneous meeting, and we'll see you again real soon.
Bye, everyone.
Book a session. Namaste. See ya. Thanks.